So why do good girls like bad guys? I had this question for a real long time. I've been a bad boy and it's plain to see.
Who do you think should be in charge of punishing crime for crime, state or federal?
In general, I think it's probably best for it to be at the federal level, because especially as we live in Illinois and live so near to Wisconsin, a lot of people regularly might move day to day between states, and so therefore to have a specific set of rules, laws, and regulations throughout the nation, I think is more just and fair.
But how do you make it fair for both state and federal?
Well, I think that state by state would lead to some unfairness and inequalities, because I think it's pretty common for most people within the United States to travel between states at some point, or even like us when we live here on the border. So that would help prevent injustices, would be if there were federal regulations for laws and punishments.
In charge of making laws, state or federal government?
Federal.
Why?
Well, if they're not that important, it should be state, but if they're important, it should be federal, because federal's they're big.
Okay. How can it be fair for both, for state and federal government?
It can be fair for both, because if it's in a state, it's in a state. If it's in state, it's fair because it's their state, but federal, it's for the country, so it's low-key fair.
Okay.
Just give me some space. I can't think. What's the question?
Who do you think should be in charge of punishing crimes, state or federal?
Both. Depends on the crime.
Why did you choose state? Or
Why did I choose both?
Yeah.
Yeah, I cheated, didn't I? Well, because the small crimes can be state by state level, and they can allow certain things and not allow certain things depending on their circumstances. Some things are more important to other states than they are to certain. So the local people can decide their own laws rather than have the big government down the road decide for them. So it's important to have state rights.
do you think it's fair to be punished for crimes in a state that the federal law, if it's legal for the state but it's illegal for a federal law?
Well, federal laws always supersede state laws. So if a federal law says you can't do it, then you can't do it in any state. They can't allow you to do something that the federal law says you can't. So the federal laws come first, and then if there is no law about it, then it's based on the states. So it really depends on if there's a federal law. If there's not, then it comes down to the state law.
Federal and state law. Federal laws apply to everyone in the United States. State and local laws apply to people who live or work in a particular state, commonwealth, territory, county. Does the federal have more control over state laws? The federal Constitution and federal law generally take precedence over state laws and even state constitutions.